Hello everyone, my name is Dara Rath and I am the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario. And during COVID, during the shutdown for 2 years, I sent out emails, just little stories, little essays to everyone, and people seem to really enjoy getting them. And so now I have the ability to record some of these short messages that take about 5 minutes to watch. And so I'm going to be bringing messages and essays of people who are brilliant authors, have written some amazing stories, and so I hope you'll take 5 to enjoy. Now today's story is actually a true story. When we lived in Burlington, we lived there for 39 years, and we lived across the road from a family. We were very involved with this family. The woman of the house, Ginny, was a great friend of mine, and she and I were both nurses, and we worked at the emergency department in Oakville Hospital for years together. And we used to look after each other's children when we were working shift work and so forth. So we were very involved with the family. We're almost meeting them for some reason or another on a daily basis. So one year, Ginny's brother asked her to look after his dog. He wanted to go to Jamaica for a vacation. So she said, okay, sure, I'll look after your dog for you. And so the dog came. It was a medium-sized copper-colored poodle. And on the second day, the dog disappeared. Well, we looked everywhere for this dog. We put signs on the poles. We called all the vet clinics, we called the radio stations, and still we couldn't find this dog. And my friend Ginny was so upset, as you can imagine. She was crying and crying. On the third day, she got a call from the Bronte vet clinic saying that a dog had been hit by a truck and that it was in the clinic and would she like to come. And so she didn't want to upset her brother, who was having a wonderful holiday in Jamaica, so she went to the clinic and she identified the dog, and then she had it put into ashes. On the fourth day, she took the ashes and buried them in the pet cemetery in Oakville Hospital, in Oakville Cemetery. And this was at a great cost. It's very expensive to bury a pet in the Oakville Cemetery. And so on the fifth day, I knew she was still really upset because her brother would be coming home and she was crying. And so my husband and I went over to the house to console her. She was in the backyard on the patio and she was crying and I was crying and we were really, really upset. And then through the bushes came this dog. I don't know where he'd been for days, but he arrived. And so we were all crying again and jumping around. The dog was jumping around, we were jumping around. But then what about this other dog? And you can't really blame Ginny for the identification because it had been hit by a truck. So any dog that had been hit by a truck, you couldn't really tell for sure. And so anyway, here we have this dog, we're jumping around, and my husband Merle was with us, of course, and he said to Ginny, if anything happens to me, I hope they don't send you to identify me. Well, of course, this absolutely cracked us up. And it's an interesting story, and I told it as part of the Easter service. Because, of course, you can imagine the emotion that Ginny had when the dog had been killed. And you can imagine the emotion she had when the dog came back. So it was an appropriate story for our Easter Sunday service. But I want us to think about this week is about our friendship. We haven't seen this family for a long time. We moved up here 17 years ago to this area. And so because of this story, I've contacted them and talked to them and had some pictures of the family, and it's just wonderful to make a connection because these people were very much a part of our lives. They were important friends, and we hadn't seen them for a long time. So I'm encouraging you this week to make a call. Pick up the phone and call some of those people who've been integral to your life, who've made a difference in your life. Send an email, send some pictures, and catch up. So that's my story for this week, and it's really a privilege to bring this information to you on a weekly basis. I hope you check in again and take 5 with me. So blessings on your day.